I get it, you've spent hours scrolling through endless listings, watching the same glossy photos of a horizontal slot mortiser that promises to make your mortises clean, fast, and repeatable. Then you order, the box arrives, you set it up, and the first cut feels like you're fighting the machine more than the wood. That disappointment is what makes me hesitate before I click add to cart on any big-ticket shop tool. If you've ever been there, stick around. I'm breaking down the Grizzly G0846 so you can tell whether it's the missing link in your shop or just another piece of metal that will gather dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why a horizontal slot mortiser even exists in a world where a drill press and a few jigs can do the job. The core problem is consistency. When you're pulling a tenon through a mortise for a table leg or a drawer front, you need the same depth, the same width, and the same alignment on every piece. A dedicated mortiser keeps the cutter locked in a straight path while the workpiece slides beneath it, which eliminates the tiny errors you get when you try to line up a drill bit each time. The Grizzly G0846 is built around that principle, a motor that spins the cutter at a constant speed, a table that moves both across and lengthwise, and a vertical travel that lets you set the exact depth you need. Who benefits most from this setup? If you're a cabinet maker, a furniture builder, or someone who regularly produces production runs of mortise joints, the G0846 can become a time saver. Imagine a production line of chair legs where each mortise is exactly 1/2 inch deep and 1 inch wide. With the Grizzly, you load a leg onto the sliding table, set the depth knob, and the cutter does the work while the table moves the leg into position. The repeatability you get is something a handheld drill can't match, especially when you're working with hardwoods like maple or walnut that tend to bind a drill bit. On the flip side, if you're a hobbyist who only needs a mortise once a month for a small project, the G0846 might feel like overkill. The machine's footprint is comparable to a small table saw, so you'll need a dedicated corner in your shop. That space requirement, combined with the cost of a full-size motor and the additional accessories, fence, clamps, spare cutters, can eat up a budget that could otherwise go toward a high-quality router or a versatile drill press. In short, if you can get away with a router bit and a good jig, you'll probably save money and space. Now, let's dig into the practical strengths that show up once the machine is up and running. The motor on the G0846 is sized to handle solid hardwoods without stalling, which is a big deal when you're cutting a deep mortise in a thick leg. Because the cutter is mounted horizontally, the torque is directed straight into the wood rather than being split between the cutter and the workpiece, reducing the chance of the bit wandering. The table's cross-travel, the left-right movement, is generous enough to accommodate most standard lumber widths. That means you can set up a 26, slide it under the cutter, and the machine will take the entire width without you having to reposition the workpiece halfway through the cut. The longitudinal travel, or the front-to-back motion, gives you the ability to cut longer mortises without stopping. A common scenario is a mortise that runs the full length of a drawer side. The sliding table lets you feed the wood in a straight line while the cutter stays engaged, delivering a clean, uninterrupted slot. And the vertical travel, the depth adjustment, is precise enough that you can dial in a mortise depth to within a few thousandths of an inch. That precision matters when you're fitting a tenon that must sit flush with a tabletop without any gaps. No machine is perfect, and the G0846 has a few trade-offs that are worth flagging before you pull the plug. First, the maximum stock thickness it can handle is limited by the height of the cutter head and the vertical travel range. If you regularly work with stock that